chiropractor located in Maplewood, Minnesota at Restoration Chiropractic. If you're new here, I make videos spreading truth on health through a biblical lens, and today's video is going to be on antidepressants. My argument is that antidepressants are more harmful than good. In this video, we will talk about what antidepressants are, what they do to the body, and why they are so harmful. Before I begin, I just wanted to remind you that this is just general health information, and it does not apply to everyone. Please talk with your prescribing doctor if you are on antidepressants. I'm not advocating that you stop taking antidepressants, that is totally up to you. But for more specific health information, and if you're in the area, the Twin Cities area, feel free to make an appointment with me on my website or give me a call. I'll leave the information in the description below. Now, this may be a sensitive topic for those dealing with depression. My purpose for this video is not to make you feel bad for being on antidepressants. Instead, I'd like to raise awareness that there are other options and that everything is going to be okay. What are antidepressants? Antidepressants are drugs that are prescribed with the intent of easing symptoms of depression. Some common symptoms of depression include sadness, feeling empty or hopeless, angry outbursts, irritability, loss of interest in hobbies or activities, tiredness, changes in appetite, and feelings of guilt, just to name a few. If you go to your average primary care physician with these symptoms, they'll probably refer you to see a therapist, and they might actually prescribe antidepressants to you. Antidepressants can lift your mood and make you happier, which is why this is a common medical treatment for depression. At first glance, this may sound really appealing, especially if you're struggling with depression. Take medication that makes you feel happier. But this is a superficial way to treat something as significant as depression. I'd like to encourage you to stick around to the end of the video, where I will share a better alternative for helping depression than antidepressants. Before going more into antidepressants and the effects on the body, we need to understand the anatomy and the physiology of the nervous system. So let's check it out. Peripheral nerves, the spinal cord, and the brain all make up the nervous system. On a cellular level, the nervous system consists of cells called neurons. Neurons transmit nerve impulses or signals from the brain through the spinal cord into the peripheral nerves and back the other way. This process allows us to move and feel sensations. The brain itself is made up of 100 billion neurons. Think of how much power the brain has, knowing there are billions of cells that make it up. Now, the neuron has three main points: dendrites, which are finger-like projections that receive a signal or a nerve impulse from previous neurons before it; the cell body, which is the center of the cell, nerve signals flow through it to get to the axon; and the axon, which is the long finger projection that sends the signals or nerve impulses off to the dendrites of the next neuron. Now, neurons are all each individual cells that make up the nervous system. They are not just one big unit. They are many, many different units that come together at junction points, or another name is synapses. These synapses are how one neuron communicates with the next and how nerve impulses spread throughout the nervous system. Typically, there is a synapse junction between the end of the axon of one neuron and the beginning of a dendrite of another neuron. The synapse junctions are very important when it comes to antidepressants. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at the synaptic junctions. Like I mentioned before, the axon of one neuron transmits a signal to the dendrite of another neuron. At the very end of the axon is the axon terminal, which makes up the top half of the synapse junction. Inside the actual axon terminal are little tiny molecules called neurotransmitters waiting to be released. When the nerve impulse reaches the end of the axon, this triggers the release of neurotransmitters from the axon terminal into the synaptic cleft, or the space between the 2 points of the synapse, and those neurotransmitters are drawn to receptor points on the dendrite end of the synapse. When the neurotransmitters bind to the receptors, it allows the nerve signal to move on to the next neuron. After the neurotransmitters have activated the next neuron, the neurotransmitters re-enter the axon terminal that it originally came from, where it is recycled and released again when needed, or they are broken down and brought back into the axon terminal to be built up as a neurotransmitter again. Okay, so now that we have a general understanding of how neurotransmitters and neurons work and how neurons communicate with other neurons using neurotransmitters, let's talk about antidepressants and what they do to the body. So antidepressants directly affect neurons and their neurotransmitters. The main neurotransmitters that antidepressants target are usually serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. Whichever neurons have receptors for those specific neurotransmitters, serotonin, norepinephrine, or dopamine, those are the neurons that will be affected by taking antidepressants. Now, there are three different classes of antidepressants that I typically see in the office. They are SSRIs, SNRIs, and NDRIs. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, just like the name suggests, stops the reuptake or recycling of serotonin back into the axon terminal, keeping it in the synapse and more available to bind to receptors and excite the target neuron for a longer period of time. The longer serotonin binds to a receptor, the longer the neuron is excited. The longer the serotonin neuron is stimulated or excited, according to the Cleveland Clinic, more mood may increase, or you may feel good, you may get better sleep, more focus, and feel happier. Here's a list of common SSRIs. Serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, or SNRIs, work the exact same way as SSRIs, but they target serotonin and norepinephrine neurons. When norepinephrine neurons are excited or stimulated longer than normal, SNRIs not only have the same effects that SSRIs do, like better mood, feeling good, better sleep, and more focus, but also because this class targets norepinephrine, these will increase energy levels as well. Here is a list of common SNRIs. The last type of antidepressants we will talk about are called norepinephrine dopamine reuptake inhibitors, or NDRIs. This class targets norepinephrine and dopamine neurotransmitters in neurons. When norepinephrine and dopamine neurons are excited or stimulated, effects include increased mood, increased energy, and increased motivation. Here's a list of common NDRIs. So Dr. Nathan, these effects sound great. The benefits of taking these sound amazing. What is the harm in taking them? So in the middle of making this video, I came across a quote from a doctor on the Cleveland Clinic website. And this doctor quotes, "By balancing these chemicals, or neurotransmitters, they can help improve symptoms of depression and anxiety and maybe reduce feelings of hopelessness that someone may have." Unfortunately, this is not what antidepressants do. Antidepressants do not balance neurotransmitters. Instead, what they do is they keep the neurotransmitter chemicals available for a longer period of time, which helps to stimulate the neuron longer than normal. When the neurons are stimulated, that's what gives you the euphoric effects of antidepressants, like feeling better, sleeping better, better mood. That's because the neurons are stimulated. So picture this. Imagine you're just sitting by yourself in the park, minding your own business, and all of a sudden somebody comes up with a stun gun or a taser and just jolts you with it real quick. What do you think you would do? You'd probably jump because of the surprise. Well, that taser stimulated you to jump. It doesn't last long. Eventually you'll sit back down, after you've calmed down from getting tased, of course. That's exactly what antidepressants do. They stimulate your neurons by targeting the neurotransmitters. Much like the taser stimulated you to jump, the neurotransmitter stimulates the neuron to fire or excite. Now picture this. Imagine you're at the gym and you want to do bicep curls until you hit failure. If you're unsure of what till failure means, that's gym lingo for you. You keep lifting that weight over and over again until you physically cannot lift it anymore, or until failure. So imagine you're at the gym pumping iron, you want to do bicep curls until you reach failure. There's going to come a point where your muscle will give out and you're not going to be able to lift the weight anymore. That point that you can't lift the weight anymore, your muscle has reached fatigue. For this example of repping weight until failure, the muscle fatiguing is a protective mechanism designed in your body to avoid further injury or damage. Same idea with the neurons in your nervous system. Eventually, after stimulating those neurons over and over again via antidepressants, the neurons will fatigue and the antidepressants will lose effectiveness because your body is protecting any further stimulation to avoid damage. So if you've been on antidepressants for a while, maybe you've experienced this. They used to work really well, but now you just feel depressed again and tired. Well, this is why your nervous system is fatigued and tired of being overstimulated. So if antidepressants are harmful, what else can I do for my depression? There is another way. It takes a little bit more work, but the lasting results are much better and much more rewarding. So first, the root cause of your depression has to be found. I cannot even begin to name all the different various causes of depression, but the root cause usually boils down to either a physical problem, which could be an injury or wear and tear causing pain, a chemical problem, which could be some sort of toxic drugs or toxic food that you're ingesting, or mold. An emotional or spiritual problem, which could include things like trauma, hatred, unforgiveness, anger, or a combination of any of these. If you're having trouble pinpointing the root cause of your depression, I would highly suggest finding a health professional that you trust to help you sort through and find the root cause. And I would also suggest praying to God and ask Him to reveal to you what the root cause might be. Next, if you haven't already, start a relationship with Jesus Christ. He cares about you and your depression, and He loves you. He alone has the power to heal your depression. I want to read a couple verses for you. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24 through 27. This is Jesus speaking. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat against that house. And it fell, and great was the fall of it. We all go through seasons in life. Some are fun, some are not so fun, and actually quite uncomfortable, like depression. But if your foundation is in Jesus and not in the world around you, as Jesus suggests in these verses, no matter what life throws at you, you know that you will be okay, because you know that Jesus is good and is looking out for your best interest. This one's one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 through 30. This is Jesus speaking again. Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. In these verses, Jesus is inviting anyone who's carrying around a really heavy burden to trust and believe in Him. And in exchange for your faith in Him, He will give you rest. His load is gentle and humble, and much lighter than any burden you may be carrying on your own. Psalm chapter 40, verse 1 through 3. I waited patiently for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the pit of destruction, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. When you put your trust in the Lord, your mood will dramatically shift so much. You will have such inner peace and joy that maybe you haven't felt in a long time, that other people around you may even start to put their faith and trust in Jesus after seeing your amazing transformation. Depression can be healed, but it's going to take some time and effort. Maybe you started taking antidepressants thinking they would really help you manage depression. Maybe you feel like you're drowning and the problems of the world just keep hitting you back and forth every which direction and you can't catch a breath. So you started taking antidepressants thinking that they would help you be more happy, but instead you still feel like you're drowning and your depression isn't any better. In the Bible, you know what Peter did when he was drowning in the sea? He turned to Jesus and said, Lord, save me. And Jesus reached his arm out to Peter and pulled him up, saving him from despair. If Jesus did that for Peter, He will do that for you too. Say, Lord, save me, and watch your life change. I hope this video has given you hope. Hope that you can heal from your depression and feel back to normal again without the harmful effects of antidepressants. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments any other topics you'd like me to cover. Thank you, and I hope this video has blessed you. Bye.